It is 8 o'clock. I'm John Pope.
I'm Ryan White.
You're watching the Chain Gang.
Dude, I am so pumped.
I am pumped too,
today.
man.
Hey, folks.
How are you? Hold on. How are you more pumped than I am?
I don't know. I just am super excited. We've got a special guest with us tonight, and we did not do anything different with the cameras. We are really that small compared to Tyler. He is a monster of a human.
Yeah, we got Tyler Evans on with us tonight. Tyler, thanks for coming, man.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I think we did most of the interview before the show. We had so many questions, and I couldn't quit asking, and Ryan couldn't quit asking.
Yeah,
and
I saved some back. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, we got a ton. So, how you doing, man? How was your week?
It was good. I've been looking forward to this and getting the inside scoop on how everything was in the recruiting process with Oklahoma.
Yeah. So we got to tell you, and if you don't know, you don't know, but we got a former OU offensive lineman with us tonight. That's Oklahoma University. You guys see me sporting them week after week. You know I'm a huge fan. So this is a big show for me.
Yes.
One of the guys I've been stalking for years, sitting right next to me, and I watched him play. And so we're so excited to have him on, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about. I want to know a little bit about your early life, and the recruitment process is interesting to me. And then we got some other topics we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to start off with real quick with I apologize, our graphics aren't working tonight. I want to thank our sponsors. We got Living the Dream Outdoor Properties with Seth Hagen. If you're looking for a deer hunting, any sort of hunting property, contact Seth Hagen, man.
Yeah.
He's a good local guy. He will hook you up with the property of your dreams. Kaiser Chiropractic, which I know a lot of our athletes use.
Yeah.
If you're out there doing the grind day to day, whether it's athletics or anything else, go see Kaiser Chiropractic. Post game pizza, our favorite place to be to eat some pizza and talk to some of our athletes. You know them, don't you, Tyler?
I know them too well.
And then we got Rogersville Pharmacy. We're so excited to have them as a sponsor. And then they are moving locations not too far.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot for them.
Yeah.
My drug dealer of choice is going to be that much closer to me.
I mean, we can go in there and get our drug deals.
Yeah,
it's all that stuff.
Drive-through window, make it shady.
I'm excited. So, hey, before we get kicked off with Tyler, I'm not trying to change the subject. He's a great drug dealer. I don't know. You had something you want to talk about real quick.
So my week was fine. Thanks for asking me, John. I really appreciate you looking out for me and concerned about how I am, and my week was.
Yeah, I like you
bought
too.
a house yesterday, so don't worry about it. But anyway, so today at church, I was honored to meet Tyson Collins, and I got to listen to him and Sarah Collins, and they were talking a little bit about their story. And to be real honest with you, I didn't really know what happened to them, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but I do want to give them a little plug. So they have this foundation set up. They had a young girl, a young daughter that passed away at 2 from cancer, and in honor of her, they set up a foundation called the Paisley Collins Memorial Foundation. And in a very small nutshell of what they do is they provide funds to help cover costs for families that are going through, treatments with their kids. And it's stuff like, your car payment, your mortgage, if you need help with groceries, or it's the other things that you don't really think about. And so having some kind of an experience with what they've been through, not nearly to the extent that they did, I felt like I needed to come on here and say a little something about that. So go check them out. They have a webpage. They have a Facebook page as well. We'll try to get them linked in the comments and stuff. So anyway, go check them out if you feel like you want to help some families that have a kid in need going through cancer.
Yeah. And so we've known Sarah and Tyson for a long time. Truly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean,
unbelievable story.
I listened to their story and I tried to put myself in that place, and I couldn't imagine. What's incredible about that is when I think about it, I think I implode for a lot, and they did go. I mean, I promise you they went through that period, but what they're doing now is amazing.
Yep.
And like you said, they've got this great foundation. Alicia, can you tag that? Oh, she's already got it. Look at that.
Yeah, that's why she's the executive producer.
Yeah, she's got it tagged in our in our comments link there. So if you can go help, they have a fundraiser once a year.
Yes, and I heard the last one was quite a party.
Yeah, you and I need to go.
It sounded like we should all be there.
You, me, and Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler's our new best friend, right?
I love it. Yeah, go check him out. I got to talk to Ty just a little bit after church, and we just were visiting about their situation and kind of what Steph and I had went through with Allie. And I want people to know how important it is what they're doing to help, because there's so much more that goes into it than just the treatment part with the kid and the money part. Like, there's just so much more, and it's a great resource what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And can I bring that up just a second? I mean, like, your daughter Allie went through a bout with cancer.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking for you guys. I know as family, you and I are cousins.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking for us. She is the most amazing young lady.
I know.
It cracks me up every time I see her, because you don't think she went through that, sort of circumstance.
You never know.
Guys, if we can help, I mean, let us know, or what we can do to promote this.
I just want to get the awareness out there. And essentially what it boils down to, 100% of the funds go to families that need help. So I guess I wanted to say that because we have somewhat of a reach, and if we can get more people that are aware of what's out there, the better. Maybe someone will be willing to.
We're not just sports.
No, well, that's really important. Life is so much more important
than sports. Absolutely.
But anyway. I'm done with that.
Down to it.
Moving on to the show.
So, hold on. Can I start us off with this? I've been dreaming about this moment ever since Tyler said he would. Ever since he said he would come on.
I know it's going to happen, and I haven't talked to John. I think
it was like, hear it. I think Alicia was in bed, and I woke her up. I'm like, Tyler said he's coming on the show. So, can we start off with a horns down, which we all agree on?
Yeah.
And a boomer.
I knew it.
Sooner.
All right. Because we're already in the comments. We got one boomer. Annette Daniel says boomer.
Oh, yeah. By the way, share our page. And if you got questions for Tyler, fire away.
Yeah. So we want to start off with a little bit, like I said, Tyler, I want to start off with a little bit of questions about, because I'm interested in the recruiting process. I mean, obviously I want to talk OU football with you, but you were a standout offensive lineman for Stratford.
Yes.
And so I guess my first question is, when did you realize, man, I'm good? No, I mean, I don't mean that but there at some point you picked up the ball and you're like, okay, I'm better than everybody else.
Hey, back in the day, I didn't actually know anything about college football, nor did my mother or father at the time. And Kevin Ropke, I think, was my sophomore year, said, hey, he has an opportunity to go to the next level. Would you mind if I sent out some tapes? Kevin Ropke's favorite team at the time was, probably still is Nebraska.
Okay.
He said, I want to send a tape to Nebraska. He said, I would love for you to play in Nebraska because that's my team. I said, all right. I said, I don't even know what college football is. Sure, let's do it. Because I thought you go from I thought you went from high school to the NFL, and I was just like, I'm going to be playing football the rest of my life. I'm down with that. But then I found out now there's a process.
So you weren't, so going into this, I mean, obviously, I don't know how to set this up other than to say, I've never talked to a high school kid that was a D1 prospect. I mean, I was sitting here going back in my head today saying, have we ever, or is there ever a kid I've known, and you've got Dylan Cole, from Rogersville, who plays in the NFL right now. He was not a Division I prospect.
No, I mean, he went to Missouri State.
He went to Missouri State. So as a D1 prospect, and I, like I told you, I mean, I'd followed you because Oklahoma was saying, hey, we got this kid from Stratford, we're wanting him. What was that like? I mean, at what year did you start getting all these colleges talking to you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
The very first school that came into the picture was Kansas State. That was my sophomore year. They saw it on, I think back then it was MediaCom. We were playing Catholic. They saw the tape and said, hey, that's a big guy. We need him. Coach Mo, Kansas State, came down, said, hey, we really want you to come be a part of the Wildcats, and I said, well, pretty cool. So
Pretty cool. That's about all I would have said.
All right.
I appreciate you coming down. Have a safe trip home.
they're the ones that started it.
Uh-huh.
Then Mizzou started coming in the picture. They were at my school once a week, getting the lowdown from Coach Hester about me, watching me work out, go to class. They were there involved, and I just
Mizzou. Yeah.
I love Missouri. I just wanted to play for a team that was a little bit more spread out.
Kind of like Oklahoma.
I wanted an opportunity to win a championship.
Who was your so when all that's going on, who was the first team to actually offer you a full ride scholarship?
Kansas State was.
So they were the first ones in. They were the first ones to offer.
And that was a Bill Snyder kid, Kansas State, right?
It was Coach Prince.
Okay. Before Coach Snyder came back.
Yes.
Okay.
Before he came back, and Coach Prince. Awesome program. I just didn't want to wear purple.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
It's ugly.
Amen. Stick with the shades of red.
I didn't want to wear purple. So my friend Chan is a huge K-State fan. I'm gonna send him that clip. I just didn't want to wear purple. Love it.
Yeah.
So you talk about Mizzou being there week in, week out. I mean, so as a student athlete at your caliber, where you were getting all these D1 visits and people looking at you, like you're trying to do class, are they pulling you out of class, or are they respecting your time?
No, they're respecting my time. The only thing is that little in the door, you have this little glass.
Mm-hmm. And they can see them looking at you?
You can see their eyes just looking at you. I'm thinking.
So who was the coach of Mizzou back then? It was
Pinkel, wasn't it?
Pinkel, yeah.
It was Pinkel.
So was he staring at you through that little slip of glass?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I caught his eyes every once in a while, just staring. I'm thinking, I wonder. Hopefully, that's not the principal here for me.
I wonder if you can remember how many. Can you think back and remember how many offers did you have as total? Do you remember?
I think I had 9.
Wow.
9 total offers.
D1 or D1. All across?
D1.
No, I mean, of course, you had a ton of D2 offers, I'm sure. And
Oh yes. I think Evangel's at NAIA school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still remember they offered me, but they said, well, if anything ever happens, you know where we are. Just come back.
They probably saw the writing on the wall.
Yes. And
yeah.
Missouri State, if I did not want to leave Missouri, that's the team I would have played for.
So did Bob Stoops ever come to Stratford?
He came, yes.
And was he looking through that little glass?
No, he actually watched me work out. He was,
now, what's that like?
Oh, it's nerve-wracking.
That's a good question.
What's that like?
Because you know he's there, right?
Oh, you know he's like, all right, do I really want this kid or not?
He's up there on the platform watching, and I'm trying to act like he's not there, but in the back of my mind, well, actually the whole mind, he's sitting right there. I got to impress. So I got to go 110 miles per hour no matter what. Mm-hmm. If I slow down, it's probably going to say, it's not the right guy.
What kind of stuff did you have to do during your workout?
I mean, it was just team workout, just weights, lateral agility, movements. I think we did some sprinting that day.
Gotcha.
So
I never experienced anything like that.
Well, I mean, sometimes at my work when I go into Edward Jones,
they see how quickly
there's like people lined up, but
you can see how quick you can push the mouse button.
Yeah. And they're like, oh my.
Oh, wow.
No,
he looks good.
So I got to ask you this from a high school. Of course, you're older and more mature now. I try to think back to when I was that age. There is no way my head isn't like bigger than this room right now.
Oh yeah.
And I gotta ask, what was that like, and what did the students treat you like?
Oh my gosh. My head was, sometimes my head would hang down. No, I mean, I try to stay humble. My mother preached to me all the time, you got to stay humble, hungry, and holy.
Amen, brother. That'll preach.
The 3 H's. And so I always try to keep a level head. I knew big schools were coming like Oklahoma, Nebraska. And I just said, all right, I just got to be me. do my thing, and I'll be all right.
That's great, man. Be you. I love that motto. That's really good. Can you tell us a little bit about why? What was it that you were like, okay, I'm going to Norman? Like, what was it?
Oh, the thing that drove me there was I wanted to win a national championship, and that was the only school on the radar that had the capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Kevin Wilson was the offensive coordinator, and James Patton was my offensive line coach, and two of the greatest guys. But Kevin Wilson would make the hair on your back and neck stand up.
Like when he's yelling at you?
When he's yelling at you.
Oh, yeah.
I still have night sweats from it every once in a while. But Bob Stoops was hand down the most personable coach out of any colleges around. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but he was just amazing.
Well, he seems like he's a genuine person. Like, you can kind of tell.
Oh, yeah. And the coolest thing about him was he came back to coach the bowl game.
Yeah.
When we beat Oregon. He knew everybody's name. I said, not too many people know the whole team's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I said that's pretty, but he's there practice full time. So I said, not really that impressive, but yes, it is impressive.
I don't know why he don't just stay, come out of retirement.
Yeah.
Just stay on.
I agree with you. I mean, to some degree, I mean, like Brent Venables is somebody that I'm so excited. We talked a little bit about this. We'll talk a little bit more. But what Bob Stoops did for this program and they said, hey, we're going to, I think it was what was it? 300,000.
Yeah, he didn't want it, right?
Paying for him to come back. And he said, no, he had to take it. He ended up having to take it. I don't know if he donated or not.
I bet he did.
I got to ask you, so like you go from, hold on, I got to show this real quick because we posted it on, you can't see it very well because we can't. This is a bowl game championship. This is a Big 12 championship ring that Tyler brought in tonight. And
I got a closer picture set up.
Yeah, you posted it on our, thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It almost looks like it'd be a watch for you guys.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I don't know what to say after that, but
hey, see you folks. We'll be back next Sunday. We'll work on a new guest.
That's the closest I've been to a Big 12 championship ring ever, remotely ever.
Cool,
so
it's really cool.
So you go from Stratford. You're the man, and I knew you, like, obviously, and you're not saying that I am because I watched you through the recruiting process. We were hoping. I'm like, I want him to go to OU because, you're a local guy. I started following you, stalking you. Sorry. So, at that point. So you go from Stratford where you're the big dog. Like everybody's oh my gosh, it's Tyler Evans and he's the best football player we've ever seen in Stratford, to Norman. What was that like?
Oh my. Actually the transition wasn't that bad. I'm going to back up just a second. Whenever I was a senior at Stratford, I didn't play basketball. I wanted to get bigger, stronger, faster. That was my goal. Because going to Oklahoma, I wanted to play my freshman year, so I'd work out at Stratford. Right after Stratford, I'd go to Health Tracks, work out again. Then whenever I went to OU, the transition was so smooth. Looking at Trent Williams, those guys I have to look up to, their athletic ability is off the wall crazy. I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Which Trent Williams plays for.
Yeah, he's in the NFL, ain't he?
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Then watching Gerald McCoy on the defensive tackle side, I'm thinking,
Gerald McCoy. Oh, geez.
Oh my, this is going to be
plays for the Ravens, right? Or did he get traded?
He's in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's with the Ravens.
Mean individual.
Big dude. Yeah. And you're trying to block him.
Yeah.
So, so the first 2 weeks as a freshman, they put you in this, you got to learn the ways of, we do things in the weight room. So it was a nerve-wracking thing. They teach you how to stretch, lift, run properly. They have med ball there. It takes a lot of practice. It took me 4 years to master the med ball without dropping it.
Wow.
But yeah, then they said, all right, buddy, we're going to move you up to the 3 o'clock group with all the starters. I'm thinking, all right, so it's going to start
as a freshman.
So I'm out there running the 300s, sprints, doing the weight room. I'm doing everything that they're doing, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm ready to do some work. So my first game was against BYU. Didn't start. I think James Padden looked at me, the offensive line coach, and saw.
Was that the game, hold on, where Sam Bradford got hurt?
Got injured.
Yep.
I was in Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and I said, oh, no. I could feel the eyes burning my soul, and I'm thinking, I don't want to play. I don't want to play. 'Cause I was so nervous, and James Padden looked at me, and he shook his head like, no, you ain't going in. So I was thinking, oh, gosh, thank you. But then the very next week, Idaho State, sorry, Kevin Wilson says, hey, you're going to be playing. You're starting. I'm thinking, all right, opportunity. Walking out in front of 80,000 fans, I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, what did I do? I was so nervous. The hot sweats, cold sweats.
Every kind of sweat?
Every kind of sweat was happening. So, yeah, it was the transition. But, I prepared myself because I knew what I wanted to do. And I had a game plan on how to get there, which I owed a lot of that to my folks. Because they said, you're going to stay in the weight room. You're going to be ready for this. So they made sure I was ready.
So, and I am an Oklahoma geek. I mean, I just like Ryan, you're an Arkansas geek. You follow all that stuff. Yeah. But I followed you, before you started starting. And, I look at the OU message boards and stuff, and they were talking about you and saying, hey, here's a freshman who should be starting. Here's a freshman that's going to be starting. Did you realize that in your head that you were what were you, 18 years old?
18, 19.
Okay.
19.
But you're going from varsity high school football to one of the biggest D1 schools in the world. Did you realize you were capable of starting as a freshman?
Did not. I thought I was going to redshirt. I didn't want a red shirt. I wanted to play. The only thing I really knew was play football, and that was my passion. So that's really what I wanted to do my freshman year. Then I had the opportunity. But two-a-day workouts or practices in August, that's, I think, whenever I realized, all right, I have an opportunity to actually start and play a lot of games here. It was the first day of full pads. Kevin Wilson and James Padden said, get in there, see what you can do against Gerald McCoy. It was a 3-on-3. And I still remember the very first day I drove Gerald McCoy back.
Nice.
5 yards. Then as we're walking into the locker room, he walks up to me and says, hey, just let you know that's never going to happen again.
It probably never did.
And so I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, what did I do? I just made the number one defensive tackle in the nation. Angry at me.
Yeah. Can you think back to high school and then same question for college? Who was the best player you went up against in high school? And who's the toughest defender you ever had to block at the college level?
Good question.
That is a good question.
I have them all day.
You're not humble, are you?
I'm still working on that second H, man.
There was a few guys in high school that were very, very challenging. The block. That was one.
Yeah, the hardest, because you played on the offensive line. That's where you ended up playing. So as an offensive lineman, who were the toughest people you ever had to go up against and block?
Liberty. Liberty had a few guys that were challenging.
You don't remember who they were?
I can tell you their numbers. I just, with names, I'm a better face guy than I am with names, which is unfortunate. But
what about college? That's more recent.
Now, college, the hardest guy for me to block was Damakong Su.
Oh, wow.
Well, he's still playing.
I've heard of him. I've heard of him once or twice.
I was on field goal. He hit me so hard on the field goal
during this game.
No, this was my freshman year.
Freshman year, okay.
That I blocked our own field goal.
He hit you so hard you went back and hit the ball?
I went back. The back of my helmet hit it, and I walk over to the sideline. Bob Stoops, he's in charge of special teams, and he's just looking at me. I know he wants to yell at me, and I'm just like, well, there's nothing I could do. I was just, Donald Kong Su was probably on my freshman year. Then there's a few guys for Texas A&M my sophomore and junior year that were phenomenal guys. Then I forget his name, for Baylor. He transferred from Penn State, played for Baylor. He wore number 4. Biggest.
I don't know his name, but I can remember a number 4 on the D line. I thought that's weird. He's wearing number 4.
Never met. He was 6'7", 440 pounds. Ran a 4.6 40, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to block him.
Oh wow!
Thankfully, when we played them, I didn't have to really block him.
You double teamed him?
The center blocked him.
Oh. Did you help? Did you chip over? Or did you play tackle?
I played guard. I mean, I would look to my right, and if I looked to my left, he wasn't there because he was already trying to get a sack. So I said, back to the right.
Oh, I love it. What was the environment like? You know, I held this up. You got a Big 12 championship ring. You went to 4 bowl games, I would imagine.
6.
6, okay.
Yeah, I was there a long time.
6 years, okay. What was, I mean, when you go to these bowl games, I had a friend of mine that was, he went to a small bowl game, but what were the bowl games like? I mean, are you guys celebrities? I mean, you're going around town. People are like, oh my gosh, that's an OU player, and swag bags and.
Now, I will say it depends on which bowl game you go to. A few that we went to in Arizona, which one? What, the Insight Bowl? You're kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. They put you in a resort, and that resort's on a golf course, and the only people there are you, the football team, and parents. And now at the Fiesta Bowl and Sugar Bowl, now people recognize you because you get a police escort everywhere you go. Practice, movie night, going out to team dinners, police escort. So everybody's just like, there goes the Sooners. And Sugar Bowl, now that was an experience in itself.
Yeah.
In New Orleans.
Oh, my Lord. I've been there once.
You can get lost.
You can get lost.
Very, very, very easy. Walking on Bourbon Street, everybody knows exactly who you are. And they come up to you and, is there anything we can do for you? Can we buy you dinner? Can we buy you lunch? Wow. I'm thinking.
Now, can you take that?
Unfortunately, then you couldn't. Because it was an NCAA violation. But now I think you can.
But the Sugar Bowl people can pay for you a nice dinner and all that. I mean, it's not like you're eating cafeteria food.
Oh, no. They gave us money for the whole team to go out. So we'd go to the Red Room, eat all you wanted in crawfish or – oh, my gosh, the crawfish.
Yeah.
I never had water bugs until New Orleans, and I said, oh, my gosh, I'm in heaven.
Pretty good.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So now that all of your playing is over and you have a chance, you're on the other side and you're looking back, during your time playing football, who do you think helped you out the most?
Good question.
As a player? Now, I know, like most good people, I would say their mom and dad, are the ones, because they're always going to be there for you. I'm talking about who was the person that helped you become a great football player? Who, or maybe it's a couple people. Who are they, and why are they who they are?
Okay, gosh, that's a good question.
Like I said, folks, I'm here every Sunday night.
Mr. Humble to my left.
All right, I'm going to start off with the very first one was Coach Hester. Coach Hester made me who I was.
From Stratford?
From Stratford.
Yeah.
He gave me the drive. He gave me the passion. He taught me the ins and outs about football, why I need to love football, where football is going to take me. He kind of showed me my roadmap. Hey, this is what your roadmap could be if you stay with it. I said, perfect. That's what I want to do, and that's where I want to be. And it was kind of set in stone, except for like when they get the injuries, that kind of makes that yellow brick road. Take a left and take a right, and you don't end up in Oz. So then whenever I got to college, it was James Patton, my offensive line coach. James Patton knew how to make a okay player and turn that okay player into a great player.
And what about him Why do you say that?
About James Padden?
Yeah. Like, why do you say that he could take, and I'm not saying you're average, but I'm trying to simplify it. Like, he could take an average player at a D1 level average and make them great.
Hey, I came out of high school as a 3-star on Rivals.
We've talked about that
Yeah.
a little bit, but sorry.
James Padden, he knew how to talk to you. He could read your language. He could speak who you are, and you would understand it.
Yeah.
Where most coaches, they have one tone only, and that one tone goes to every player.
Yeah.
And it's either angry or excitement. James Padden would, if excitement really worked for you, he'd be excited. If anger worked for you, he'd be angry, and that's the reason why.
That's a good leader, though.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Hogs. I know you're not a Hog fan, and that's okay.
Kinda. We talked about that. Kinda.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, silly.
Yeah, so, and that's one of the things, if you ever listen to Sam Pittman, who's their head coach right now, he talks about he wants to hire good men who are good communicators. And
Yes.
I think that's kind of what you're saying, is that Coach Patton was very good at communicating, not with just this type of person, but then this type of person, and then this type of person from all these different backgrounds.
Correct.
So, and I want to hear your take on this because you're an O-lineman. So Sam Pittman is the head football coach at Arkansas, and he was not their first choice. I mean, it was Lane Kiffin and anybody else besides Sam Pittman, essentially. And I think it went back to he was an offensive line coach, and for whatever reason, I don't understand why, the offensive line coaches don't generally get a shot at being a head football coach. They usually want a coordinator, which he had never been. So as an offensive lineman, a former offensive lineman, what are your thoughts about offensive line coaches going into a head coach's role? And here's what I'll say, and then I'll let you fire away. I don't know why that wouldn't be a great idea, because who on the football team has the biggest room, if you really think about it? Who has the biggest number of players that they're trying to talk to and coach? It'll be your O-line coach and your D-line coach, probably. So they have the biggest background to, try to navigate what you're talking about. So what are your thoughts about all of what I just said?
That's a fantastic question. I'm going to go to Bill Bedenbaugh, which is the offensive line coach at Oklahoma right now. He is probably the smartest individual I know, period, especially in the game of football on the offensive line. That's the reason why he makes first-round draft picks every year with the offensive linemen. Offensive line coaches, they have to know the quarterback, the running back. They have to know defense. Now, I will say when Bedenbaugh took over at Oklahoma, I didn't know anything about defense. He made sure the whole offensive lineman, every offensive lineman knew what a cover 3, cover 4, what a 4-3, and what a 3-4 is. And why he's not a head coach? That's a great question. But I think offensive line coaches, if they do take over the head coach, I think they'd be able to prosper. I think that they might honestly make a very good offensive line coach.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the way I look at it too. Ed Orgeron did the same thing at LSU, which he's now gone. But he was kind of like, in my opinion, the trailblazer, right?
And even talking down to a high school level, I mean, Coach Talbert for Rogersville, he's a offensive lineman, not as big as you. That's why he played for. But I love you, Coach Talbert. But anyways, he's an offensive lineman. He's offensive line. That's his mindset. I think he makes a fabulous coach. Defensively, we talked about the changes they made this year to be successful. I think that's a great question, Ryan. I think it's a great answer. So, no, go ahead.
No, I will be here
You'll be here all day. Hey, I'm going to take a quick break real quick before we get too much further in. I want to thank a few more of our sponsors. Real Beef Direct, guys. There's no better way to order your beef than Real Beef Direct.
I could use a steak right now.
I've eaten all your steaks. I'm ordering more.
Told me.
But you go on Real Beef Direct, you order what you want. It's waiting there at your freezer. And I'm going to tell you, hands down, best steak I've ever had.
I'm ready.
Excited about it. So
right now,
MDP Motors, I posted on the Chain Gang web page. They have 2 fabulous looking Chevy Silverado, or one's a Chevy Silverado, I believe. One's a GMC. I can't remember. They could
pull some things.
I don't know, but they're gorgeous looking trucks. Truck inventory has been low. Go ahead, get out there and get your truck from MDP before it's gone. And B&B well and pump. This is that time of year where your pump's going down. So if you've got any well and pump issues, go and see our friends over at B&B well and pump. So, hey, what's the update?
Yeah, what's
on the Kansas City game? She said it's back and forth. 23 seconds. Chiefs lead 33-29. And who? Bills have the ball? So I'm getting some texts about good game. Hey, we're here talking with Tyler, so I've not been keeping up on it. So we're excited. OU offensive lineman Tyler Evans with us. He was a Stratford standout. He's an OU standout. We've been excited to talk to him all week. I want to move into NIL real quick. Mm-hmm. And Ryan had texted me. It's funny because you're on vacation. You said, John, I've got something I want to cover on the show. Mm-hmm. And then I text you back maybe a week later and said, hey, we got Tyler Evans coming on. Yeah. And he's a OU offensive lineman. So I want to hear what you have to say. Yeah. And then I want to see from your perspective as a college athlete what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So what I sent John was, so at Arkansas, we have a stable of running backs, but we also have a pretty good room of quarterbacks. And so our quarterback this year had a phenomenal year. They had a great year as a team. Kendall Briles really showed how he could develop a quarterback like KJ Jefferson. So behind him is a guy named Malik Hornsby, 4-star athlete, the fastest guy on the team. Like, I'm not kidding. He's probably the fastest guy on the team, and he's your quarterback. He's really tall, he's kind of skinny and slender. They get him in the game. Like, he plays some, but not a lot, because KJ is just phenomenal. And after the season was over, my biggest worry was that Malik was going to transfer out, because I think KJ, after next year, he'll be able to go into the draft, which I think he will, barring anything crazy. And then it's like Malik's going to have 3 years. Like, he could literally be the starter for 3 years if he wanted to be, if he's patient and he'll stay around. So anyway, long story short, Malik Hornsby put his name in the transfer portal. And I was like, gosh dang it, he's gone. And then like the next day, he's withdrew his name from the portal. And so I sent this to John because this is what I think's happening. This is my guess. Malik Hornsby wants to play. He might not have an NIL, any kind of a sponsorship. And he's like, all right, screw it. I'm going to go transfer to another school that I can get some money. I want to get paid because all these other guys are getting paid and I want to play. Then he comes out of the portal. So my guess is it's either one, he was legitimately wanting to leave, or two, this is my theory, he wanted to go into the transfer portal, make some news and make a splash, get his name going, and then maybe somewhere along the way, some money has came to him as a backup at Arkansas. Hey, if you stay, we'll do this the next year. And now he's all of a sudden back at Arkansas. So I think it's a bad move, the NIL thing, and we've talked about this. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say, Tyler. But I think these kids, they're smart enough that they can work the system, and I think it's crap. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So what do you think about that, Tyler? What do you think about this?
I want you to completely disagree with us if you feel that's what.
I don't have a problem with the kids making a little bit of money because these schools make millions.
Oh, make millions.
I don't have a problem with that. It's the free 1 year transfer out because I'm not getting what I want. I don't like that. And it's basically free agency in college football.
That's exactly what it developed. I am not a fan of it at all.
Of the NIL?
NIL at all. But I do like the fact that these guys can actually make money a little bit off their name, where the school's not making billions.
That's right.
And because the players are the ones that are there making the money for the school.
Right. And I don't have a problem with that.
In their given time.
Yeah.
Now, how they're able to transfer, I know that transfer rule came into play. The transfer rule allowing players to go wherever they want to go and get paid for it is beyond ridiculous. That should not be happening.
So let me ask you this, and you be completely honest. You can say, I don't want to answer this question. I'll answer it, whatever. But as an offensive lineman, okay, so OU is there recruiting young Stratford prospect, Tyler Evans, and then Texas comes in and says, hey, you're guaranteed to make $150,000 a year, which which is what they're guaranteeing right now, 150,000 a year
At Texas?
At Texas to play on the O-line. They got this weird system set up where they'll make, you know what I'm saying? They'll make at least 100,000 a year playing on offensive line. Would that play a part in your decision?
At 18 years
old.
At
18 years old. Let me think here. Yes, it would play a big role.
Yeah, because it would me 100%.
Yeah, I would say, all right, thanks Oklahoma for that.
would you still do this, or would you?
He might be doing this if they said don't pay you 150.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'd be doing horns down, but out in the image, I'd be doing horns up.
Yeah.
That was for Coach Hester if he's watching, because he's a big Texas fan, so he gets to actually see me put the horns up.
You put them up once for him
right now
because he's scary or what?
Oh, he's just
a good guy.
Just a good guy.
There you go.
He's a diehard Longhorns fan. But yeah, just the fact that offensive linemen, they don't make nothing. So the NIL rule doesn't really affect offensive linemen, except for Texas where they're paying offensive linemen. Yeah. I'd say see ya.
Like at Arkansas, and I don't know the details, but I do know it's a real thing. Like I don't know if it's the starters or all of the offensive linemen or whatever it is, but the linemen are in some kind of a deal with like Dickey's Barbecue.
Yeah.
But it's all of them collectively. And then you hear like, I don't know, wasn't Bryce Young like up around $1 million?
Oh yeah.
Somebody was doing
that kid from Ohio State, Ewers, that's going to Texas, I think. He didn't even play a snap for Ohio State, and he made $1 million.
So now and we've talked about this a little bit. It's no longer amateur sports.
It isn't.
You're paying people to play, which is what they do in the NFL.
So I want to combine this. Then this was a whole different segment I had, but I think you got to combine the two, NIL and transfer portal.
Oh yeah.
I had someone say the other day, and I'm like you, Tyler. I mean, at 18 and, I got Texas offering me and I grew up in Oklahoma. Like there was no professional teams. No. Like it's Oklahoma. Someone told me Oklahoma got beat by Florida or Miami. I thought it was Dolphins because I didn't know I thought Oklahoma was a professional team, And so anyways, that's way back in the day when it was the Hurricanes, but like I didn't know there was anything different, but I grew up. My dad threw a football in my belly when I remember this after Thanksgiving. He said we went outside. It was Oklahoma, Nebraska. Always playing on Thanksgiving. He put a football in my belly and he said, "You're an OU fan." And I said, "Yes, sir." And that's it, man. That was all. Like he's a Notre Dame fan now. I don't talk to him anymore, but
because Rudy was offside.
But I'm passionate about Oklahoma. I get frustrated with the whole Oklahoma situation, but I'm different than a lot of the fans. Like I don't get frustrated with Caleb Williams. I don't get frustrated with players leaving because it's the environment we've made. And I try to take myself back to, like you said, Caleb Williams is 18, 19 years old. If Caleb can go make $1.5 million playing at USC, man, if I was 19 years old and someone said I can make $1.5 million versus what I made at Village Inn, I'm going to USC. Like, I don't get mad about that. I just don't understand. Someone told me the other day, they said, it's becoming like the NFL. And I said, no, it's not. The NFL is much easier to navigate because they have contracts. Like Baker Mayfield cannot leave the Cleveland Browns and make more money for someone else in a set period of time. They know they have Baker Mayfield for 3 or 4 years. In college, you don't know. Like your boy KJ over at Arkansas,
yeah,
he may leave tomorrow. Leaving. No, I'm not saying he's leaving, but
he could.
But he could.
Yeah.
You tell me like LSU doesn't offer him $2 million and he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
That's how stupid it's gotten, where coaches can't even pick what offense they're running because they don't even know what players they have.
And in my aspect, if this was set back in the day when I was playing, because I blew my knee out in 2012, blew it out again in 2013. My NFL image just kind of kept on shrinking. If someone said, "Hey, we're going to pay you $1 million if you come play for Illinois," see ya. Because honestly, in college football, you don't know how long of a life expectancy you have,
especially at your position,
at offensive line or D line. Because I've seen guys almost tear a leg off.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be a first rounder. And I said, "Oh my gosh." That was my freshman year, but I said I still love the game.
Yeah.
Injuries happen, but the money thing is changed the way.
Because you were, let's just say it. I mean, you got hurt twice. You were a huge NFL prospect.
What? Yes.
I mean, you probably wouldn't be returning our calls right now, but you were a huge offensive or NFL prospect going forward. So you're saying, like, get the money when you can.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I get that.
If you can make $1 million at 20 years old, do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait till you're 22 because it may not be there.
So I'm going to propose something to you guys, and we'll kick this around a little bit. This is my Uncle Ryan's suggestion for how you fix this.
Are you Uncle Ryan now?
Whatever,
I like that.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
This is my suggestion. So maybe how you might be able to control this a little bit. So now, when these kids are signing on out of high school, they're signing that letter of intent. Let's make that letter of intent like a 2-year commitment, or maybe even 3. I don't know. Let's just make it 2. You got to be here for 2 years, or we're not paying for your school.
No, I totally agree with that. But if you go to a school and you don't start, but you can start someplace else, that should be how it's looked at. If you're starting at least one game for a school, that transfer portal is closed.
Because right now it's like 6. Is it 6 games or 4 games they can play?
4 games,
and they can redshirt.
Yeah.
So you can play, but then you take your redshirt year. I just and we've touched on this a little bit. I don't like how these kids, they don't have to have any real kind of a commitment, which I think is just bad in life.
Yeah.
At some point. So maybe we make the letter of intent a 2-year agreement. I don't know. What do you think? Is that fair to the kid?
I think
because
there has
they used
to
to not be able to transfer and play.
No,
and I want you to argue with me because you've been there. I mean, if I'm off base with when I say this, that's why I'm excited for you to be on. There has to be some accountability to your word,
right?
And I'm saying when you ink, I'm not saying you verbal commit to Oklahoma. You've got to go to Oklahoma. That's what makes it fun. It's always been fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the guy from Oklahoma flipped to Texas, or
yeah, and it's fun. It's exciting.
We flipped the Texas guy to OU. Okay, verbal comments, care less. When you ink your name, there needs to be some sort of commitment. And one thing that I thought about was, let's bring the 1-year sit out back. So for instance, if I'm KJ from Arkansas and LSU's offering me $2 million. I say, okay, but I got to sit a year.
Can't even play.
Can't play 1 year. There has to be some sort of like break it up to where it's like, is KJ going to be good in 2 years? I don't know how to do it. I mean, I don't have any answers. It's out of control.
Well, we need to give them answers.
You got guys.
We do a 2-year commitment and you have to sit out. I mean, it will control. I can't imagine being a college football coach right now. Because you're trying to recruit kids for the future, and you're trying to recruit kids to just freaking stay on your team.
Well, what about Georgia, who just won the national championship?
And we got one of their safeties.
How many people have flipped from Georgia?
We just got one.
There's 9 players, I believe, that have flipped. Not 9 players in the transfer portal. 9 players have flipped from Georgia, I believe, to go other places, and Georgia just won the national championship.
It's crazy.
There needs to be something set in stone that says, hey, all right, because that's what these kids at this age is going to hurt their future. It's going to hurt their future, especially with like commitments.
Yeah.
They're not going to know how to hold a commitment. Whenever I was there, if you transferred from the Big 12 to any other school, it'd be up to the AD.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to let you play or not.
You said out a year, or he says you can play, right?
What AD is going to tell you can't play?
Well, a lot of ADs, because back then,
back then it was.
But I mean, if I'm an AD and I said, hey, we spent a ton of money. I mean, you go back to Caleb Williams, okay? And I'm not saying I'm mad at Caleb Williams. I hope that kid finds a place. I think it's going to be USC. I hope he does amazing. I'm glad Lincoln Riley left. I'm glad Brent Venables is in. I think it's an even swap. I think we're going to do tremendously well going to the SEC with Venables and his coaching staff. With that being said, I wish Caleb Williams all the best. But OU spent a crap ton of money recruiting Caleb Williams. how many plane rides out there, how many dinners, how many all this stuff that, a lot of people don't think, they think, you just recruited Caleb Williams. No, we spent $50,000 recruiting Caleb Williams. We get that money back if we get Caleb Williams, because it's one of those gambles, right? We get Caleb Williams or we don't. We got Caleb Williams. I think, in my opinion, he needs to sit out a year and then go play for USC. Love the kid, and I wish him the best, but he needs to sit a year.
Here's a thought. Okay, so I don't know all of the ins and outs, but I know enough to speak somewhat intelligently. These kids that are going to these schools under this predetermined dollar amount, $500,000. I don't think there's actually like a contract. Like there's no kind of a contractual agreement, because I don't think there can be. So what's going to happen? Wait till this happens. Some big time person goes somewhere, says they're going to give them $500,000. They get hurt the first week, and then they don't pay them. Then what?
Well, I mean, you look at the companies too. I mean, like that Ewers kid from Ohio State, they paid him $1 million to not take one snap. I mean, if I'm a car dealership or whatever that's paying this $1 million, I'm thinking, okay, not only did I pay you $1 million, you didn't take one snap for Ohio State. Now you're at Texas.
Yeah. Maybe they got to pay it back. Maybe there has to be some kind of a repercussion for what's going on. There's no accountability, and it's a free for all.
Tyler, what do you think? Because I mean, you and I are huge Oklahoma fans. You obviously played there. They recruited me heavily. I chose to go to the Army.
Not to play football.
Not to play football. But I mean, we talk about blood, sweat, and legacy as LR. You left it on our field there. Your blood, sweat, and legacy on our field. How do you feel about the way OU football is right now?
It needs to come a long ways. It's after Lincoln Riley left, it left a hole. Because the way he left and left the program and everybody started transferring, I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, there's a black cloud over Norman. What's going to happen? But with Brett Venables coming back, we're going to be fine. Brett Venables and Coach Schmidt will be just
Schmitty.
Hey, Schmitty, yes. Schmitty is going to turn that program around, make guys again.
If Schmitty walked in this room right now, would you be? Would you be scared?
Yes, because he'd be having me jump. He'd be having me do workouts.
Do box jumps and up downs.
Give me 50, Tyler.
How old is he? Ooh. He's got to be in his 60s.
I know he doesn't look a day over 50.
He doesn't look a day over 45 to me, but
good.
I mean, that dude just the pictures, and you guys had to go through it. I mean, when I see the pictures of Schmitty, I'm like, oh.
My favorite picture, he just returned, and I think they're doing like a mini pro day for the guys that are still on the team, not going to the NFL. And some of those guys' faces looking at Schmitty, I'm thinking, I still remember that. But these guys, these guys didn't have the Schmitty workout game plan. They had we're not going to get injured game plan with the other strength coach, and I forget his name. I know he went to USC with Riley.
See you.
See you, buddy. But Schmitty's going to turn that program around, and just seeing those guys' face lined up, because they're not used to the way Schmitty coaches and trains. He's going to stay on you, and he's going to yell at you. And if you don't like being yelled at, you're going to find out really fast where you are.
So overall, though, you think Oklahoma's in good shape?
Yeah, I say Oklahoma needs about 2-3 years so Venables can get his guys in. I mean, there's a reason why Clemson had the number one defense. What was that, 6 years running?
Yeah.
And now we just got the number one defensive coach in the nation at Oklahoma. So, yeah, they're just going to be just fine. Give it a few years on recruiting, though.
I agree, Boomer.
Sooner.
Oh, my God.
Ryan, I'm going to ask you this question, and one of our last questions because we're running out of time. I believe it's a rules change year this year. It has to be. In 2022.
Yeah.
I think they go every other year as a rule change year. I think 2022 is a rule change year for the NCAA. I put all the blame on them not doing anything.
Oh, yes.
And them just kind of saying, let's let the courts take care of it, and them not instituting like some sort of guideline. Do you think it's inevitable that the NCAA comes up and says, here's the changes we propose to rectify what's going on? Or do you think the NCAA is done?
I think they're done.
Okay, I agree.
I think that, and we touched on that a little bit, but yeah, I think the NCAA, if not, I think it'll eventually dissolve, and it's all going to be ran. There'll be like a board of these power group 5, however many people you want to be on this board over these universities, and they're going to be the ones making the rules and the changes. It's basically going to kind of be like a self-policing where everybody's on the same playing field.
Oh, yeah.
Do you agree, Tyler?
100%.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, back in your day, you couldn't even, like, so you're on our show right now. Let's say you're home from college, and Ryan and I want to take you out for dinner. Can you even do that?
Back then, no.
Yeah. I mean, you can't even allow us to buy you lunch.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get back to just being people. Like, if I want to take you out for a lunch, then let's just go eat some lunch.
Yeah.
And just, there's no motive behind it. Now, we all know that happens where there is a motive behind it.
Much richer people than us say, hey, we're going to buy you $50,000. Yeah.
Because they want to give you $100,000 under the table. Is that a rules violation?
Yeah, it's not.
I doubt it. Speaking of recruiting, John, do you know the top 5 recruiting classes right now for the 2023 season, who they are and in what order?
Well, I mean, it's so early that's pretty, like, I mean, I know he's going to say Arkansas, but
Suey.
Do you know what they are?
I would say Georgia,
Georgia's 1.
Alabama.
Nope, they're not even in the top.
They're not in the
even
top
on there.
15. Arkansas,
They're number 3.
Texas.
Nope.
Notre
Dame's 2.
Dame.
I just wanted you to know
Ohio
Arkansas
State
right now is sitting at number 3.
That's good, man.
Which is great. It's early.
Yeah.
But hey, we're number 3.
Hey, we have discussed this. All 3 of us were at the Arkansas-Texas game rooting for the Pigs. Did you call the Pigs, Tyler?
I did.
I called the Pigs.
Baby.
Well, let me say this. I wanted whoever wasn't Texas to win.
Yeah. So you weren't necessarily an Arkansas fan.
Anybody else besides Texas?
Yeah.
Oh,
fan.
yes.
So
All right. So it was all right.
Funny story that day. I didn't even know they were playing. I had a buddy, Jake Reed, give me a call. He was another offensive lineman
I was gonna say, yeah.
at OU, and says, "Hey, come to Fayetteville. I'm in where am I? I'm in Arkansas, fly fishing on the White River." I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, it's a 3-hour drive." But all right,
Aren't you glad you went?
I am.
All right. So because I'm biased, I think U of A's the best. I think it's God's country. But as a non-Arkansas like diehard fan, like what was it? What's it like up there? Do you like the environment?
Oh yes,
It's awesome.
It's a good environment, yeah.
The pig suey, the atmosphere. And it's in the hills.
Yeah.
So there's this dense fog. You smell it. Smell football.
Oh man.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I mean, it's like you don't all of a sudden you're country and then you're like on the stadium. I mean, it's I'm walking through cow poop and then it's like there's the stadium.
And it's
like,
amazing.
And no, it's a great, I mean, I not come home, Militia, and say that is one of my favorite stadiums ever.
It's so cool. I love it.
So,
I've been to several, and
I mean,
it's just great.
I rate Oklahoma 100, Arkansas 48.
Oh, man.
As far as stadiums go,
48.
I mean, in comparison, but no, I would say
crazy.
I got an idea. Now, Tyler may not agree, and we're putting him on pressure.
He's been in a lot lot stadiums.
He's been a lot
one
more.
Of us.
Why don't we go? Because don't they play in Texas this year?
Who?
Arkansas, Texas.
We do.
They have one more. I think it's saying. Oh, I don't know if they play Texas next.
If they do, let's road trip. Tyler, you down?
Oh, I'm down.
Let's road trip, baby.
Yes.
I mean, I've never been to Austin, and that's one of the ones I've always wanted to go to.
I'm down.
And I will wear Oklahoma stuff like I did at Arkansas.
Do it.
But I will go there and root for the come on, baby. Whatever they do. Sue Piggy.
Sue Piggy.
So, what's the Kansas City game? Kansas City won in overtime, so that's
deal.
great. So,
All right, before we go, because John's always worried about the time, and I could never really ever care less because it's our show. We can do whatever we want to do. Okay, so on what we were talking about, what is the coolest stadium that you've ever played? Like, what's the best environment that you ever got to experience?
outside of Norman.
Outside of Norman.
No, forget that.
Outside
It
of
can
Norman.
be Norman, but the best experience, atmosphere, coolest stadium? Like, give us something.
By far the coolest stadium I've ever played in was Florida State.
Really?
Wow.
Their fan section is bizarre. Whenever I forget how it goes.
I don't even know.
Oh,
the chop thing?
Oh,
Okay.
my gosh. It gets intense. I'm an Oklahoma guy, and I said, oh, my gosh, I'm getting chills.
Because they do the whole horse and the flame.
Yeah, they throw it down in the middle. That's cool.
And I still remember we're on the goal line. I couldn't hear what Landry said. I'm trying to read his lips and no idea what he's saying. So I'm looking at the center. If he goes forward, it's a run. If he sits back, it's a pass. And he went forward, and I went forward and missed my guy, and we didn't score, unfortunately.
Way to go.
but I would say Florida State atmosphere, then the Cornhuskers Stadium was by far the coolest stadium.
Wow.
Really? I'm kind of surprised to hear Nebraska, to be honest. I've never
I'm
been
not.
there.
No.
Is it, I guess, Go Big Red's a big,
Yeah,
the big thing?
Oh, the bowl.
Yeah.
You can't, it's bizarre. You can't hear nothing. Like most stadiums, you can hear in the middle of the field if you're playing, but there you can't hear nothing. It's just a sound wave all the way across.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Oh, also, I wanted to say this about the NIL. I do love the fact that it is in college football because they're going to bring back the NCAA football game.
Amen, brother.
They're going to bring, hold on, they're going to bring what?
The NCAA football game. He don't know.
I don't know what you're talking
I'm with
about.
you, dude.
It's like
The last game.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Back.
The greatest. So I bought Madden this year only because there wasn't that game.
Yeah, okay.
I used to get in there and be Oklahoma. Like, I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Do you create a team as Oklahoma
I do.
in the NFL?
Yeah, and then it's and then it's like I'm going to the championship and it's like 83-3 Oklahoma. and I know I'm on the easiest level, but I just like that's how bad we are. No one beats Oklahoma. But it's horrible. My wife had to endure that during because I don't currently own a gaming station. My daughter does, and she brought it over during Christmas, and I bought Madden, and that's all I did all day was Madden.
It's all right, man. You got to veg out at some point.
I like Madden, so
that's great.
Hey, real quick before we go, tell us what you're doing now.
I'm actually an insurance agent with Shelter Insurance down there in Nixa. If you need a quote, I'd be happy to get you a quote. I do home, auto, life, business. I do it all. I try to be competitive, but with one thing that you're going to get with me is you're going to get great customer service. I'm going to make sure you're well taken care of. You have a smile whenever you walk in with a frowny face, you're going to leave with a smile.
What number?
My number is 417. I'll give you my personal 551-2548. Call me anytime.
That's a personal number to an NCAA or NCAA Division I offensive lineman. So there you go. So
they're going to be coming in there. Hey, can you sign this? Hey, can you sign this?
Yeah.
Hey, can you sign it? And then you're going to turn around and say, hey,
can I quote that?
Can you sign that?
So you're in Nixa.
Nixa.
We're at Nixa.
My address, I'm right there next to the Great American Title and the License Bureau.
Great American Title, they're great.
Over by El Mundo and all those places.
Yes.
Where the throw rolls and on that side of Nixa.
Yeah.
One over. Okay. Yeah. So anything else, Ryan? Any other questions?
I mean, I could just keep talking.
I know I could too, but anything you want to leave us with or?
Gosh, this has been an awesome radio interview.
Well, hey,
thanks for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with John and I.
Yeah, it's been a blessing for us, and I appreciate you coming on and getting your perspective. As you know, there's things that him and I talk about, but firsthand, and so it's been neat to see. We're going to bombard you quickly after this with for some autographs. I got Lil B out there with her Oklahoma stuff on. She's excited to get your autograph. And she said, Dad, don't embarrass me tonight. And I said, well, I mean, I'm just saying you want his autograph. And so we're going to get an autograph for the studio here. And Tyler, we appreciate you so much.
Hold up. We ain't leaving before I ask this question. And I'm ashamed of you for not asking.
Oh, okay.
Unbelievable.
Uh-oh.
Can you get us some tickets? To Norman?
Norman, yeah, just got to ask me.
Oh, man.
Come on, man.
Well, there we go. I'm ashamed of myself for not asking too. So
I'll keep that on the down low.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask him after the show, Ryan.
Whatever.
Guys, we appreciate you watching the Chain Gang. Tyler, thanks for coming. He won't say it, but go Cats.
Go Cats.
All right, we'll see you
y'all.
guys.